Our March town hall meeting. When I was getting ready for today's meeting, usually when I prepare and put our slideshows together for you, I look at the previous month's meeting to see what we covered, and then I also look at the meeting from the same month the year prior to sort of see what we were talking about and if there's anything that we needed to cover again or just what we were doing a year ago. And when I went to do that, it struck me. We didn't have a March meeting last year. That's when all hell broke loose. That 1 year ago today, well, technically tomorrow, it was Friday the 13th. That should have been our first indicator right there of where we were going, is when all of the requirements started to come out, all of the guidance from the state and federal government started to come out, all of the shutdowns started to occur with COVID-19. And there was a lot we didn't know then, and it was really scary. And in some ways it still is scary, but we're on far better footing today than we were in those early days. In some ways, it's hard to believe that it has only been a year because it feels like it's been forever. But in other ways, it feels like the whirlwind started yesterday. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But when I do take a deep breath and kind of look back at where we were a year ago and what we didn't know, and then I think about what we've been through, it makes me sad. It makes me angry. It makes me upset in some ways. But I also have hope as I've watched how we as a community here at Monroe Village and in other communities outside of here have come together to support one another, to support your fellow residents, to do what we all need to do to not only keep ourselves safe, but to keep one another safe. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. We are moving in, I think that's wood, it's at least pressed wood, in the right direction with so many things. And I can't thank all of you enough for your perseverance, for your understanding, for your following along with what we have done to keep yourselves safe and to keep your fellow residents safe. It has been awful, but we are moving on to brighter and better days, and we have a lot of good information to share with all of you today about where things are going to be heading. So with that, we're going to get the ball rolling here because we do have a lot of information to share, and we thank you all for your time, for our live studio audience for being here, as well as those of you who will be watching this at home. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our administrator, Tina Hanneman, who is going to... All right, here we go. Our administrator, Tina Hanneman, who is going to share with all of you what's been going on over at Village Point. So, here's Tina.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It feels like spring a little bit yesterday and today too. So I'm going to give a report on Village Point. Last month I talked about the vaccine clinics, which is the same that you had here. So CVS was also at Village Point. They came on January 4th, January 25th, and February 15th. They administered Pfizer vaccine to our residents and staff over there. We had a total of 64 Village Point team members that got vaccinated. Just please note that is not totally accurate. I'm still gathering data. There's a few more staff members that got vaccinated elsewhere as well because they work in multiple facilities, so they were also vaccinated elsewhere. I'm still gathering the data on who else got vaccinated. So technically speaking, the number is higher than the 64. I just don't know what that number is right now. In addition, we had 58 long-term care residents that received the vaccination. And just to note that the short-term residents were not eligible for the vaccination, so we would have had a higher number if it was, offered as well, because we had a lot of ins and outs from people who came on a short-term rehab stay. Those on a rehab stay, our own IL folks, independent living folks who were there did get vaccinated. But when I'm saying short term, I'm speaking about the people that came from outside of our community who came for a rehab stay. They were not vaccinated. Also, I just want to give an update. So many of you, and not all of you may not know, but Letitia Perry, she was our business office facilitator. She has been with Spring Point for about 10 years. Jay has worked with her at Meadow Lakes, and she transferred from Meadow Lakes over to us back in 2018. She has moved on to a new role. She has taken on an infection preventionist role at another facility. So her last day was this past Wednesday, the 10th, so we do wish her well. And in that note, I also welcome Santa to Perez. She is now in the business office facilitator role at Village Point. She was our part-time concierge person in the evenings and weekends. She comes with a background from a dental office. That was her full-time job, doing front desk and billing. So she has taken on the role, so I do want to welcome her as well. And I also want to give an update. Last month I did as well. As you know, last year was tough with COVID being on lockdown as well. Saswati, Jen, has been working very well. Saswati, our case manager, and Jen, our admissions coordinator, on trying to receive referrals and get our neighborhoods filled. Evergreen, one of our long-term care neighborhoods, we're at 25, out of 30, which is great. Sandalwood, we're looking to build up. That's another long-term care neighborhood. It's upstairs. We have 18 people now out of 30. And Willow, our memory care unit, that was one of the last units to open up. We have 24 people right now. So we have, working on that census and building that up as well. So we're getting there. Today we are sitting at 89 in the building, which is one of the biggest numbers since I think probably early last year when we were hitting that number. So it has been a lot of ups and downs. So we're looking to continue to do so. And with that as well, as you know, we, as Jay mentioned, this coming Saturday is going to be technically 1 year since our building has been closed to visitation. So we had made calls on the 12th of last year to let family members know that they're unable to visit indoors. So we had held outdoor visitation last year during the summer, weather permitting, and then we put a halt during the winter. We've been doing window visits, those who are on the first floor, and then those who are on the second floor, we do bring those residents down for a window visit, and we have been doing Zoom calls. This week, we did start resuming our outdoor visitation, and in regards to indoor, we're still waiting for guidance from CMS. So as you know, we need to meet certain criteria before we can have people in the buildings. Even though a lot of people say, well, we've been vaccinated, why can't we come in? It's been a year. We still have to follow certain guidelines to protect the staff and residents. So we're waiting from CMS to provide those guidelines. I know a lot of people have been reading notes and stuff online stating that, they're trying to relax the visitation because it's been so long, but there's certain things that we have to follow in the state of New Jersey. So those we're still trying to work through and get guidance. Once we do notify the families. Things we've been trying to do is, since residents haven't been able to, have spend time with their families, we've been introducing new programs. So we have a horticulture program through a company called Elder Grow. Basically, it's like plants on wheels, I guess you want to call it, where residents can actually, we have somebody come in, set up the plants, and what they're doing, the residents can, it provides, it's more of a sensory program, and also gives residents tasks and things to do. So we have 2 that we're setting up on a unit, which they love. We started baking, so the smell of cookies and baking on a unit, which is great. And then also Kim, which is our activity director, has spent a lot of time and effort in ordering new items for people for sensory, for the lower functioning folks who can't participate in the certain high function activities. They've been doing a lot of sensory items, so like the one-on-ones and a lot of one-on-one room visits as well. We have been now going on 3 weeks that we had no COVID cases in our building, which is great. So we're looking to hopefully next week go back to regular dining plates because we've been on disposable. So we're looking next week to go back to regular dining plates. We're looking to also go back to off quarantine, meaning that we've been using full-on PPE when giving care. So we're looking to, all goes well, we're going to be, that's going to be the next step as well. And God willing, we're hoping that we do, in the next few weeks, do move to phase 2. What does that mean? That will allow us to open up indoor visitation, resume beauty parlor, which was the hot topic here. It also is the hot topic at Village Point right now because it's been almost a year. So we're hoping to move in that direction. It seems that we're moving in the right direction. So hopefully soon we'll be there. And that's all I have. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, Tina. So as you can see, we've got a lot going on over at Village Point. Just like we've experienced here at Monroe Village, it's been a long year for all of the folks at Village Point, be it the residents, be it the staff over there, or the families of our residents at Village Point. And thankfully, we are moving in the right direction over there. As Tina noted, the vast majority of our residents in the long-term care settings have been vaccinated, as well as the staff, and we're continuing to get more and more staff vaccinated. So that's all going well, and all of that means that slow march back to whatever normal is going to be for us, and we're excited to see that. And we're also excited to hear from Nathan Perez, our Director of Sales and Marketing. He and his team have been quite busy welcoming new residents to our community, talking with other folks who'd like to become new residents of our community, and getting a lot of things planned and underway for the spring and summer months in terms of re-engaging with the outside community so they can see and hear all about the good things we do here at Monroe Village. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nathan Perez, our Director of Sales and Marketing.
Good morning, folks. How are you? Good. All right, so we'll do a roll-up of last month, and then I'll explain a little bit more about what we're doing this month and the upcoming. So in the month of February, we had a goal of 3 sales. We had 4, and we had a goal of 3 closings, and we had 3. So it's very encouraging that we are starting to hit those benchmarks that we have set for ourselves, especially as things continue to open up. For March, the current month, we have 1 sale already in. We do anticipate 2 more. What we're noticing is that although we're not having peaks and valleys, we're starting to see kind of a steady stream of folks coming through, which is encouraging. We do have 5 closings scheduled for the month of March, so hopefully we can increase the census by a few this month. Slow and steady will be the course throughout the rest of the year. We have a presentation on our contract options later this month. I believe I have about 10 new folks that have raised their hands saying, hey, I'd like to learn about that, as well as about 20 folks that have already been through here that want to refresh. So that's encouraging as well. We've offered that to multiple dates, times. We'll be having it here in the auditorium, and then we'll give them a, like a sandwich and a pasta lunch to take home and dine at home. Our social media tactics are continuing. We are still trying to highlight our programs, our dining, meals, new residents, new apartment features, and that has been building traction online for us. The goal of that is to have folks find us on social media. We're on Facebook, and then look us up on the website and start to learn more. So if you are on Facebook, please like our pictures, follow the page itself. I know I see someone in the room who I see comment a lot on. Encourage your family to do so as well. While you may not be on Facebook, your family probably is. And then we are continuing, Spring Point and Monroe Village, we are continuing online advertising as well as television advertising. I know a lot of folks have already come to me over the past year and said, hey, I've seen the commercial. We're going to continue that throughout the remainder of the next couple quarters. And then in terms of circular advertising or newspaper, we have cut that back dramatically. I probably won't be entering a lot other than the local 55 and over guides. I'll probably stay in those just to have some local presence, local synagogue, local church, but in terms of newspaper advertising, it's just kind of dead right now. This is fun and exciting. I've kind of mentioned it a few times to everybody that we were building a brand new apartment home that is going to be the largest that Monroe Village has had thus far. This is the Yardley. It is officially complete. We have our certificate of occupancy for it. It's the first of its kind, and it is a 1,425 square foot, 2-bedroom with den. It is a 2 full bath. As you can see, there's a double-decker patio that measures, yes, 22 feet across. So the goal of this apartment is to compete against the more traditional continuing care retirement or life plan communities that have units upwards of 1,500 and up. Do I think this is going to be our bread and butter? No. But I don't want to leave those folks out there who would be our type of folks, our type of people, but aren't coming to us because we don't have the right size for them. Right? There's a lot of people that want larger. There's a pretty good size, higher socioeconomic level out there that has not, up until this point, come to Monroe Village or looked at us because we just don't have something to speak to them. So this is a really cool unit that is done. We're having the unit staged for a photo shoot in the first week of April. We'll officially have a rollout in May to go to income levels of 100,000 and up throughout the area. Multiple zip codes, tons of zip codes we're going to include in that mailer, and hopefully this will be a way to reinvigorate and bring new folks to the community. So if you do want to see this at any time, by all means, just let me know and I'll tour you through it. It's pretty spacious and very nice. I just want to plug one more time the referral program, the resident referral program. I did not update this slide, sorry. It's actually 8 referrals that we have so far, not 6.
Awesome.
We have had a few of our newcomers come to us and bring their friends to us. So that is something that we're noticing. While some of us that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, maybe you don't have people that are saying, hey, what's the community like? But a lot of our newer people are coming to us and saying, my friends are curious, my family members are curious, where did I move, what's it all about? So that's kind of where we're seeing a lot of our referrals coming from in terms of resident referrals, some of the newer people, which is great. Please continue to spread the good word about the community, especially after those of you that are new, you move in. Again, just bring us to their contact information. We will take it from there, invite them to presentations, to see a model apartment, just to talk to them on the phone or send them information. And if they do move in, you will receive 1 month free. Just want to thank you all for your support, and spring is coming. Right.
Thanks, Nathan. So yeah, you can see there's lots of interest out there in our community, as Nathan showed, with the number of move-ins we'll have this month, with the referrals that all of you are making to your friends who are choosing to come to our community. 8 referrals so far this year is fabulous. That's great. And remember, you get a little something something if you make that referral and the person moves in too. So could be mutually beneficial, if you know what I mean. So keep those referrals coming, please. Next up is our Director of Maintenance and Grounds, Stan Mazakevich. Stan was in his glory in the past month to 6 weeks, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
After no snow last year and no snow in the first half of this winter, well, we know what happened in the month of February, don't we? We got dumped on, as we like to, we said something else, but we won't repeat it here. Anyway, so Stan was busy, and he's going to give you a little update on where we are, more on the outside than on the inside this month. And then he brought a special guest star to visit with us today, who he's going to introduce. So with that, here's Stan.
Thank you, Jen. Hope everyone's enjoying that warm weather today, the whole week. Hopefully we're not going to get the weather that they're having out in Colorado. Yeah. We've already started with our landscapers, have been working on the grounds all week, so we're getting everything ready. But the weather in March is so unpredictable. But really what I want to talk about today is I do have that special guest that Jay was saying. We have the Monroe Township Fire Official, Mike Lubertozzi. Come on in, Mike. And Mike is going to talk about fire safety today. So please welcome Mike. Thank you, Mike.
Making Stan feel good because I have to lower the mic. Makes him feel cold. Thank you, Stan. My name is Mike Lubertozzi. I am the fire official of this district. I'm in the fire service 35 years, so I've been around a little bit. Basically, I've been working hand in hand with Stan and Jay to keep everybody here safe. So if Stan gives you something to do about fire safety, it's coming from me and cleared through Stan and Jay. So we're here to make you safe. So let's start with everyone's apartment. Inside your apartment, you do have a sprinkler head in case there is a fire. And the way the sprinkler head works, there's a little glass bulb in there. When the temperature reaches a certain temperature, it dissolves and the water comes out. You have smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors in there also to help you, to warn you, to get you out safe. So with that being safe, let's talk about the rooms in there. You got a bedroom, a kitchen, I believe most of them have balconies, correct, Stan? Okay, so, and a living room. So you have to be safe, you know. You have electricity for your stoves. So let's talk about that, all right? A lot of people with electric stoves think that's a countertop, all right, because it's nice and smooth. So do not store anything on your stove. That's the safest way to stay safe with electric stove. If you do use it, lights do come on the back of that stove, indicating that it is hot. Okay, and even when you're done cooking, the light stays on until it cools down to a safe temperature. So just keep that eye out, be visual of how you use your stove. Also, I have a little parting gift that, we're leaving the back. It is a ruler. It is a meat temperature gauge. It gives all the different meats on what temperature you're gauging. Also, it has a couple of notches. One notch to pull the oven grate out and one notch to push it back in so everyone can stay safe and not burn their hand. I will leave them in the back of the room at the end. So that's your kitchen. All right, living room. All right, everyone likes to relax there. Sometimes people bring candles in. That's no good. I do not like candles because we're human. We're all forgetful. We'll all get up and do something else. And what do? We leave the candles unattended. So the best, safest way to protect yourself from a candle is don't use them. Don't have them. It's not safe. Okay? And even though they smell nice, they give you a little light, but still, I don't like them. So I don't even have them in my own house. So if you want your apartment to smell nice, there's plug-in Glad air fresheners. You plug it into your outlet, and your apartment smells nice. Okay? And yes, let's move on to other parts. They talked about the winter. It gets cold, right? Everybody likes to sit out on their balcony and everything. Okay? Do not use a portable heater, okay? Because again, we're human. We forget. We knock them over. They could cause a fire. They are electric. Okay, they do use a lot of electricity, could overheat and cause a fire. The best way to stay warm is either put the thermostat up, call Stan or Jay, tell them you're cold, or just put an extra sweater on. That's the safest way. Okay, so with that, just be safe. I will be walking around 4 times a year, so if you do see me with Stan, feel free to ask me a question. I will help you out the best I can. Okay? Smoking. Anybody in here smoke? Good. Don't. Okay? No good for you. Plus, if you get caught smoking in the building, I have to yell at Stan and he's going to come get you. Okay? So keep that in mind. So this whole conversation is about fire safety. Careful of your electric oven. No candles, no space heaters. Okay. Please be safe. That's all I have for today. But don't forget to get your little present and leave it in the back table. Everyone help yourself. Like I said, if you see me in the hallways, feel free to, I do like peanut butter and jelly. That's my favorite. You know, if you see me, you know, cookies are always good too. Cookies, you know. So don't forget about that. Okay. So, but I just want to thank everybody for letting me come join the festivities here. Appreciate it, and look forward to do more programs with you.
Thank you, Michael.
Excellent, thank you. Now I can open and close my grates on the stove safely because I usually burn my fingers. But our thanks to Mike, our thanks to Stan, especially thanks to Mike for coming out today. He probably doesn't want me to tell you this, but it was a day off, and he came in special just to talk with you guys today. So, again, round of applause for Mike from our Monroe Township Fire Department. They are our partners and our friends. They do a great job here keeping not only us safe here at Monroe Village, but everybody all throughout Monroe Township. They're a great group of ladies and gentlemen, and they're really committed and dedicated to what they do. And that's why they come and do little talks like this to remind us of all those things that we can do individually to keep ourselves safe from fire. And some of them, yeah, maybe we don't like the idea that we can't burn a candle, and yeah, maybe we don't like the idea that when in the wintertime, when it's really cold, you can't be out on your patio or your enclosure because it's chilly, because there's no heat out there. Space heaters, they're a big, big no-no. You can't use those. They are fire starters. Fire scares me to no end. Those of you who know me well probably know I like to be in control of things. Probably never figured that out about me, right? Gina's in the back going, oh dear God. Fire is one of those few things that we can't control if something happens, and that's why it scares me so much, because we can't manage it. It puts everybody at risk. So we ask again, please, for yourselves, for your fellow residents, remember this is a congregate living situation. This isn't just like living in a private home. Please follow the fire safety rules that we have in place. As Mike said, they're to keep everybody safe. So we ask for your continued support in following those rules. So from fire safety to fun, how was that for a transition? So we've been starting to have more fun around here. I hope everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. You know, we're getting more programs and events underway. We're doing more things. We're following what we need to in terms of guidance and support, and finding ways to keep everybody safe but have fun. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Wien. Everybody knows Steve. Everybody even knows Steve's telephone extension. He's going to tell us about all the fun things we got coming up, all the plans as we get into the spring, and how we're going to continue to get things rolling here at Monroe Village. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Wien.
I know the rules of the road.
I don't drive here. Don't make me drive.
We won't make you drive.
Good morning. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday. Yes, I'm wearing a tie. I thought it was a year ago, so I want to make sure I knew how it worked. And my oldest, she opened the door and Daddy, what is this? I'm like, well, this is a tie. She's like, this is like your married clothes. I'm like, well, Daddy's not getting married, but Daddy wanted to make sure he knew what a tie is. You know what a tie is. And, you know, in celebration too, you know, we do have our first candlelight today. It's been a year, so I'm looking forward to that. So I wanted to have that nice debut. In the gym, the Livewell area, in about 40 minutes, we'll have a cardio challenge. So we do have some participation in a new exercise. Thanks again to Ashley. And we do have a follow-up at 1 o'clock, because the list was long than we thought. But we adapted, and we look forward to the 1 o'clock cardio challenge too. So here we are, Saturday. Saturday, March 13th.
Oh, I got the wrong day on there. It's Saturday. My fault.
I'm in tomorrow, don't worry.
It's not Sunday, it's Saturday.
Yeah, so tomorrow is the 13th. Jimmy Byrne will be here from Colorado. So thanks to technology and the help of my laptop, we'll be able to show a live performance. It's not taped, and no one else is part of the Zoom call. It's just us. So I will be here like I usually am for Saturday nights to check everyone in. If you did not sign up, please, 5:45 is available. At 7 o'clock, we are pretty full. And there is a waiting list. I know sometimes people sign up and unfortunately they don't really come. So we do let people in if we're allowed. Just like Jay said, we do still have to follow the guidance. For April, Saturday, Claudia will be coming back. Again, we'll be doing a 5:45 and 7 o'clock show in the auditorium. She has been here before. She does that the violin. And this program will be music around the world. And another Saturday, on April 24th, Jenny Lee Stern. She came also, pretty much, she was, I think, our first live show since we were able to do live shows. She did the Patsy Cline number, I believe, yeah. She's very talented, so of course she's always welcome back. She'll be doing a different show, Just a Girl. So it'd be strong women who grace the Broadway stage, from Judy Garland, Betty Midler, and Gwen Stefani. And again, all entertainment is coming from the Kiefer Fund. So it's a very generosity that we're looking at, and we are still doing that, okay? And just one note too, we do have that St. Patrick's Day show. For people who signed up, we put things on the sign up in the LiveWell Hub. I think it was 3 days, we reached capacity. So I took that sign up and I hit it. But if you did put your name on there, again, I think you know me, I'll try to make things work, again, with the guidance. And we did make a waiting list. So the waiting list does not guarantee a seat. I'm still looking into what we can do for that Wednesday. I will be here too. But right, it's one show. Wanted to see what it would like, because again, we've been doing entertainment, but we haven't really done a one show in the afternoon with some time now. So like, we have to try things. We will do our best. Anyone on the waiting list, I will let you know. You can also try to come in, like I said. If people do not show up, I am going to give your seat away. Volunteer appreciation. We would like to celebrate our volunteers. We're looking to confirm the volunteer list of those who volunteer from April 2020 to March 2021. I do understand it will be a less list just due to the things that were shut down. But we are doing things again, and volunteer, we still like to celebrate. So that list will be available March 18th to April 8th. So please confirm your participation by checking the list located in the binder in the LiveWell Hub. Be sure to include the areas where you volunteered. So the list will be reviewed. So for example, if you say, I volunteer my time to show up to Jenny Lee Stern, and sitting in the audience, that doesn't count. What does count, for example, Ruth Menaleko, she does a group, she does a news discussion group twice a month. I'm not saying we need twice a month participation, but she volunteered her time, and she's been doing that consistently, and I thank her here, and I always thank her in person. So if you have something like you're doing, we do have a lot of volunteers with bingo, so that would also count. But I'm not perfect, so please put it down. I review the list and we'll have a chat, okay? More for the appreciation. For those interested in volunteering in the future, please put your contact information in the binder and let us know how you would like to get involved. So again, because we were so closed and there could be new things out there and new people, we're always listening. So I want to make sure people have that opportunity for me to again, we'll have a discussion and we'll see what that looks like. More details will be on channel 1979. We will be having our sign-ups for the outdoor raised beds. They are located pretty much behind the pool. Primer Road, there's a nice spot. We did do them last year, so again, for people in April, current plot owners get first priority, but open plots will be available. And I know some people did have 2 plots because we didn't want nothing to be grown. So your secondary option, you would make a choice, will be open, because the rules are if you have an apartment, we again, we don't have 200 plots, but we have enough, and we always make it work. At this time, I'd like to thank Dominic. He's in the audience here, so thank you, Dominic. He is retiring as the chair of the Greenhouse Committee. Dominic put a lot of years, and he also put a lot of time in those displays, the very nice displays that we have. So again, Dominic, thank you from me and to the community. And I did want to mention that. So we are looking again for a leader. So if you have interest, put that on the list. Again, things might be different, and that's okay. But I would also like to acknowledge Carmel O'Neill. She passed away, but she also helped a lot with the greenhouse. So I would be remiss not to acknowledge her time as well. And something new, landscape committee startup. I know Cindy has been working with a few residents, but that will be starting in the spring. So if you do like to make sure you're on the group or you have that interest, please call 6418, not my number, okay? Cindy, 6418. And I think that's it.
All you got.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Steve. So you can see yet again, we've got a lot coming up, a lot of good things. Jimmy Byrne tomorrow night, Saturday night the 13th, not Sunday the 13th. My apologies for that one. I typed the wrong day. But other evening events for the weekends and entertainment. New groups getting started. The landscape committee, as Steve mentioned, is something that we did talk about last year, and then that little COVID thing got in the way, so we needed to put the brakes on that, but we are going to be reinstituting that. We're looking for resident volunteers there to get involved, to offer thoughts and suggestions about different landscaping areas outside. Obviously, we've talked before that that's an area, the landscaping is something we need to focus on more. Things have kind of gotten a little away from themselves, I'll put it that way, and we want to reinvigorate that. And I would like to echo Steve's thanks and congratulations to Dominic for his years of service at the greenhouse there. If you don't know where the greenhouse is, it is on your way to the clinic. There's always a wonderful display there in the window. And one of my favorite things is when I know Dominic is down there or has been down there, I get to hear some music too. And it always brightens my day and lightens my step as I'm walking past there when I hear the music. So, Dominic, our thanks to you for your years of service. Truly, thank you. It's been a great thing to see. And enjoy a little more free time now. All right. So, we are entering perhaps the holiest part of the year, I guess, in the Western religion calendar, I would consider it to be. And we've got a lot of different events coming up that are spiritual and religious in nature. And thankfully, with some of the loosening of COVID restrictions, we are going to be able to have a few events this year surrounding Passover and Easter that we weren't able to do last year, and I know that was difficult for so many of us. Unfortunately, it won't be quite wide open like we've enjoyed in years past, but it will be some things, and I think that anything we can do will be good. So I know Terry has been working quite hard with Steve and with Cindy and with our religious leaders from the Monroe community to try to bring a variety of things to you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Terry, who will share with us where we're going with these things. Here's Terry. You want to drive or you can drive? You can drive, or I'll tell you.
I think I just pushed the arrow button,
Yeah.
right? Okay. All right. Push the button. All right, so we have begun the resumption of services, slowly but surely. But last Sunday, we had our first in-house Protestant service with Reverend Filson, who is the pastor at Jamesburg Presbyterian Church. It went well, and he will continue to be here on Tuesday afternoon. So anyone who would like to participate in that service is welcome to attend. Those of you know him because he also does the Monday Bible study. So he's well known to our community. In fact, a shout out to him in that he has been our Protestant volunteer here since the opening of this building. So he's been here a very long time. So we're grateful for his service. I wish I could tell you that the Eucharistic ministers are here. I called the parish earlier this week just to confirm, and they said Father Juan is still uncertain about when the Eucharistic ministers will be able to come and do services with us and to provide services across the street. I did tell the parish administrator that 97% of all of you have been vaccinated, so this is the safest place their Eucharistic ministers are going to be. But she has promised to talk with Father Juan and to get back in touch with me when they feel that they are able to do that safely. So we've put in a plug for us, but we're waiting to see. Oh, you know what?
What? Yeah, I changed your slide.
Okay.
I rearranged it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. We are going to have services this week for Holy Week. I'm going to be here on Palm Sunday, and we'll have palms available to anyone who would like them. Reverend Filson is going to bring palms, so there anyone for whom that is a significant season as the start of Holy Week, we will have those available. Last year I put them in vases in various the common areas in each of the buildings, but they will be here as well as a devotional for the week. The Holy Thursday service will be at 2 o'clock in the auditorium. The Good Friday service will be at 11. The seating will be just what you see here, so if that's important to you, come and we will try to accommodate as many people as possible for both of those services. All right, there we go. That's the one I was looking for. Tonight is the first time in over a year that we will have Shabbat services. We are so delighted that that has come about. Our rabbinical student, Rabbi Asher, will be here this afternoon. Esther Race will be leading services this afternoon. Next week, Barry Falk will be leading. We are looking for folks who are interested in being candlelighters as well as being leaders. So please talk to me. We're going to be putting together a schedule for the rest of this month and for April. So that's a wonderful opportunity. This actually, you can see a slide with Esther and with some ladies who are no longer with us, but who helped form the history of our Shabbat services here. All right. We have Passover to go again. Last year we couldn't gather at all, and our compromise was to those small boxes that had all of the items that are on the ritual Seder plate. This year, we have the boxes again. You will need to sign up so that Mike Werzbowski knows how many boxes he needs to put together. You can sign up in the Live Well hub. Those sign-up sheets will be there at least by Monday. But in addition to that, because Steve and Ashley have been so expert at providing video for us, last Friday, a small group of us taped a virtual Seder for all of you. We had a small group of residents as well as Rabbi Asher and I. So on Saturday night, the first night of Shabbat, of Passover, we will be airing that virtual Seder for you, as well as again on Sunday night. So then just in case you might have been with your family or have other obligations, both the first and second night of Passover will be available using our residents. We thought it would be much more fun, although I really miss seeing all of you in the evening on Sunday evening with just the elegance and beauty of that service. for next year, we can say next year in Monroe Village all together. I am also in charge of the art gallery, which is that gallery that is by the greenhouse on the way to the medical center. And I wanted to say thank you for all of the folks who contributed to our winter exhibition. It will be coming down at the end of March, and one of our own, an artist in her own right, will be filling the art gallery with pieces done either by herself or her husband. And they are based upon local spots. So some of them you may know. So look forward to seeing Jenny Swanigan. Her stuff goes up April the 2nd. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. So as Terry said, we are doing our best to bring religious services for both Easter and Passover back to us here at Monroe Village. And I think that given what we still need to do with social distancing and COVID restrictions, we put together a pretty good plan. I know that last year the Passover to-go boxes were very well received, and I hope they will be again this year. And the idea of having a virtual Seder, as we're calling it, where you'll be able to watch the service being done by various members of our Monroe Village family, I think is a pretty neat option as well. Not the same as everybody gathering together, obviously, but you take the lemons and you make lemonade, to mix a metaphor there, and obviously we're going to do the best we can. And the same with Holy Week and Easter Sunday for Christians. We can't have everyone together for our Holy Thursday or Good Friday services, but we will try to accommodate as many people as we can. So from religion to food, both important things, right? We can decide which one has a higher priority depending upon your personal preference, but religion and food, and oftentimes they go together, don't they? I think. That's the way at least it seems to be. So we've got Mike Werzbowski. You all know Mike. Mike is our Director of Dining Services. He and his team are continuing to react, to adopt and adapt to the various changes and requirements and regulations with COVID-19, as well as to continue to change and adapt to your preferences as we introduce new menu items. We've had a lot going on in the last month or two from a dining services perspective, and we're getting ready for a lot more in the next month or so. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Mike Werzbowski, our Director of Dining Services.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, first few things that I wanted to go over was just a review with everyone some of the things we've done since our last town hall meeting. Since that time, we've had our Valentine's Day celebration where we featured Valentine's Day specials for brunch in the Fireside Restaurant, and also dinner specials that evening in the Village Bistro. We were also able to do it was something new that we tried for one of our first holidays, doing it with the market. We had some Valentine's treats that were available for sale in the Village Bistro also, Valentine's Day cupcakes and cookies and things like that too. So they went well. A lot of people seem to enjoy having the choice to go down there and buy a few things for their apartments. So we're going to be doing that again as well coming up this week for St. Patrick's Day. One of the other celebrations that we did was Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday, was the day before Ash Wednesday, so we featured in both restaurants menu specials in both of those venues. And then starting with Ash Wednesday, we also featured some meatless and some new seafood items and pasta specials and things like that since then on Ash Wednesday and every Friday for the remainder of Lent. Coming up, we have a lot of things coming up also starting next week as we continue to introduce our spring menus for the season. We have coming up, we have St. Patrick's Day coming up this Wednesday, March 17th. So we'll be having specials in both restaurants for St. Patrick's Day. So we have some nice items on the menus. They will be posted on Touchdown, along with the daily specials like we normally do. We will be having on March 20th, we're going to have kind of a spring celebration menu. Next Saturday is the first day of spring, so that's something. I think the change in season and the snow being gone, as the temperatures are great outside. The sky's blue today. Some change for the season, and those changes will be reflected in the food as well. And the specials you'll see over the course of the next couple of days will be a little bit lighter. Specials with the seasonal menus, and then we're going to start with the new menus for the spring season on March 24th. So that's we have a lot going on, and then shortly after that is Passover. So we'll be making sure that we have, as Reverend Terry had mentioned, we'll be making up the kits for Passover, and we will be featuring some specials down in the Fireside Restaurant for that day as well. So please make sure you do sign up. Once again, I need to know how many we need to make, so that'll just give me an idea of how many I need to make. And those kits will be delivered with your dinners, or you can pick them up in the Fireside Restaurant if you're dining in that evening on Saturday. I'm sure everybody's heard. The governor has announced that we will be able to go to 50% capacity in the dining rooms for in both restaurants. In the dining areas, it'll be up to 50%. That's effective March 19th. So we will be able to have some increased seatings. We will still be taking reservations only, and we will still be doing the 2 seatings in order to make sure we stay in compliance with that mandate from the state government. Once again, we are still continuing to work with the Independent Living Dining Committee. We meet monthly, and we discuss the food-related programming and events, with the group at that time. Lastly, I just wanted to go over just some of the key points to remember. As Jay had mentioned earlier in the town hall presentation, we are slowly marching back, to kind of whatever the new normal is going to be. There's just a few things I would like to respectfully ask that everybody kind of help us with in dining services. One of those is if there's a need to change or cancel a reservation, please call and let dining services know. We do keep on the reservation sheets, if we are booked for a certain seating in either the Village Bistro or the Fireside Restaurant, we do take some names and phone numbers down just in case there is a cancellation. We still have from time to time people who do not call and let us know, and then they just don't don't show up for their reservations. If you want to switch reservations, if you want to, if you don't want to eat in the Village Bistro, you decided you want to go down to the Fireside Restaurant with your friends, please call us and let us know so we can make some phone calls and invite some of the other residents down who are kind of on the waiting list so that they can come down to the bistro or the Fireside Restaurant and have dinner in the dining room. In large settings, which includes both of our restaurants, all the residents were still required to observe all the precautions, including the wearing of masks in public spaces and until seated at your table in either restaurant. I notice sometimes, out in the Fireside Lounge or out here in the clubhouse, we have our masks down below our nose or barely covering our mouth. We should have our masks up over our nose. And if one of the staff members happens to mention that to you, please, pull your mask up. It's for everybody's benefit. Not just here in the community, but for, the dining services staff, and looking back the past year, they've really been terrific. showing up every day. Many of them are young employees. You know, they've had to go through the same things that we go through here at home as well, where their mom or their dad, you know, have had COVID-19, or their brothers or sisters. So, you know, I think it's a thing of mutual respect. You know, if we ask you to pull your mask up, please do so. Observe the scheduled reservation times and the length of times that we allow. You know, we do have, there's a lot more work to do, I think, behind the scenes than anyone realizes or sees. It's not, all of it is not visible. You know, we do have to properly clean, sanitize, and disinfect the dining areas, you know, with both liquid and, you know, aerosol disinfectants and things like that. So we really, you know, we need that time to get out. We don't want to be spraying things with residents in those dining areas either. You know, so it's just, I know a lot of folks like to kind of stay a little bit later at the second seatings. But like I said, there's a lot that we have to do behind the scenes to make sure that things are properly cleaned, sanitized, and disinfected, once again, for everyone's safety. So just as a reminder too, dessert and coffee or tea is supposed to be to go. You know, I think I've been finding, and I've seen it as recently as last night, where, you know, we get our desserts and the desserts come right out of the bag and we're eating them at the tables. It's supposed to be to go. That's why we package it up. Once again, that just allows us time to do our job with the cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting after you leave. Once you leave your table, masks are required once residents leave their table and go back into the common areas of the community. And once again, just if everyone could please follow the instructions of the dining staff, whether it's, you know, slowing down when we first get into the, you know, the hostess center so we can take your temperatures. You know, we do have to take everyone's temperatures, check everyone off on the list that we provide for security. So there's, you know, once again, a lot of things that we have to do. And just for everyone to, you know, follow the plan, it would help us out. So I think that's really all I have for today, other than just once again, thank you for all of the residents who have, you know, I'm starting to get a lot more comment cards. I've been making sure that the comment card boxes are stocked with cards in both the Village Bistro, the Fireside Restaurant, and the Assisted Living. You know, please continue to email me. I think that's been a great way to for me to communicate also with the residents. And all that information is up there on the slide. Extension 6432 for the Village Bistro, extension 6433 for the Fireside Restaurant. My direct extension is 6424. If I'm running around the building, please just leave me a voicemail and I will return your call. You know, I do return the calls from family members and you know, residents as well. I've had a few inquiries for, you know, we have a lot of people new that are moving in or will be moving in, so I try to get back to all those family members in a timely manner. And lastly, there is my email address. My business cards are also located by the comment card boxes in both the Village Bistro and in the Fireside Restaurant, so feel free to pick up one of my cards. My email address is on there as well. Okay, that's really all I have for today. So thank you.
We'll come back to the questions, Jill, at the end. We'll hit your questions at the end, I promise. We'll come back to that. All right, now it's my turn. So, I have a few things I want to share with all of you today, mostly COVID related and where we're headed with things. Lots of good news to talk about today. So let's start with a little update on vaccinations and what our statistics are here at Monroe Village. So as you can see on the screen, all 28 of our assisted living residents, 100%, have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is wonderful to have 100% participation amongst those residents. Here in independent living, 209 of 216 residents at present in independent living have now had both doses of their COVID-19 vaccine. So 97% of all of our independent living residents are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19, which is phenomenal. I think that in itself merits a round of applause for all of our residents. And as far as our staff, our team members go, and as Tina indicated earlier, these are the number of folks who got vaccinated here on site. We have staff members who have been vaccinated elsewhere that we haven't calculated yet into our numbers. Tina reported to you the number of folks that are Village Point team members that were vaccinated. I'm sharing with you the number of Monroe Village team members that are vaccinated. So 78 of 134, or 58% of our staff have now received both doses of the vaccine. We will continue to encourage anyone who is not vaccinated to do so. At present, we do not have any other vaccine clinics scheduled here at Monroe Village or at Village Point. However, we are working to secure additional doses of the vaccine so we could make it available at some point in the future. So I don't have anything else to share on that or when that would be, but I want everyone to know we are continuing to look at ways to get additional doses of the vaccine for those who may still want it that did not have the ability or the opportunity to be vaccinated previously. So what does that mean for us here? Now that 97% of our residents are vaccinated, what does that mean we can now do? Well, we can't have a giant party. Not yet. But we're on our way, folks. Okay? You may have seen that earlier this week, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, put out new guidance for what people who live in non-healthcare settings can and cannot do, or what they suggest they can and cannot do. We, here at Monroe Village, obviously have areas that are clearly healthcare settings, right? Village Point is regulated by the New Jersey Department of Health and by CMS. That's a healthcare setting. We need to follow the rules and the guidance from the New Jersey Department of Health as well as from CMS. Our assisted living neighborhood, also a regulated area. That is regulated by the New Jersey Department of Health. So we have to follow the rules and the guidance there. But then there's us in independent living. We are not a healthcare setting in independent living. You all are independent, right? You can do your own thing, you make your own choices, you have lots of options of what to see and do and be a part of. So we have a lot more flexibility we can now implement. However, the one thing we do need to remember is that we are still a congregate living environment. What that means is that even though everybody has their own apartment, and you have your own house, so to speak, we're all still living together here at Monroe Village. So we can't go as hog wild as you might want to. We still need to be appropriately thoughtful in how we organize things and how we gather and what we do. So with that, I want to share where we're going as far as new freedoms. God, I never thought being able to go someplace would be a freedom, or gather with people would be a freedom. But new things we're going to now be able to allow here at Monroe Village for our independent living residents. So, number one, and this applies to fully vaccinated people. Now let me give you the definition of fully vaccinated. That means that is a person who has had both doses of the vaccine, because at the time we were only offering the Pfizer or the Moderna, which were both 2 doses, right? If in the future we have residents who get the Johnson & Johnson, which is a 1-dose vaccine, they would apply after 1 dose. But fully vaccinated not only means getting your dose or doses, it also means having a 2-week waiting period, if you will, after that last dose to allow the vaccine to fully take hold in your body. That's what fully vaccinated means. So fully vaccinated people can visit and or dine with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing masks or physical distancing. So we can get a little closer. In small settings of 5 to 6 people. That's something that's important for us to remember. Small settings of 5 to 6 people. So, what does that mean? That means that we can do small group things without masks. It does not mean we can do larger group things without masks. So, things that are still held here in the auditorium, we're still going to need masks and we're still going to need to social distance. Small group things, maybe if there's a single card game going on down in out in the community room or downstairs in the creative workshop or whatever, that maybe you don't need to wear a mask. But if there's larger groups, more than 5 or 6 people in the room, not just at a table, in the room, you have to wear the masks. The exception is dining. We will be able to allow dining without masks and with groups of 5 or 6 people. So we may, as we open up to 50% capacity, be able to expand those reservations from 4 to 6 people. But more to come on that because we need to think about the configuration of the restaurant. Okay? The other thing, fully vaccinated people can visit with unvaccinated people from a single household or an apartment, okay? Single household or one other group of folks that are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease. They can visit with them indoors without wearing a mask or physical distancing. So who is at low risk for severe COVID-19? None of us here are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease. Okay? Anyone over the age of 65 is automatically in a high-risk category if you are unvaccinated. But who is low risk? Perhaps your children, depending on their age. Probably your grandchildren, because I don't think none of you have grandchildren that are 65, do you? No? Okay, just check. Close? Barry's got a grandchild close to 65. You look pretty good for 122, Barry.
You're right. Thank you.
So you can visit with them. So what does that mean for Easter and Passover? Because that to me is the biggest question that I would have right now. What it means is that if you want to go visit with family or friends off campus, okay, go to your son or daughter's home or a grandchild's home or something in a small group, 5 to 6 people, it's okay. You can do that. You can see your family. You can see your loved ones. You don't need to worry about wearing the mask in those small settings. And you also don't need to worry about quarantining when you come back to Monroe Village. Okay? That's a big deal. If you remember at Thanksgiving and at Christmas, we told you don't go out. And we told you that if you did, you had to quarantine for 14 days. We were at a different time and place back at Thanksgiving and Christmas than we are here today at Passover and Easter. So we are now able to loosen those restrictions, which I think is a wonderful thing. Which leads to, again, fully vaccinated people can refrain from quarantine and testing following a known exposure. So if you're exposed to somebody who's COVID-19 positive, you don't have to quarantine or be tested as long as you are asymptomatic. You start to develop signs and symptoms of COVID-19, and we all know those signs and symptoms by now, you need to quarantine, and you need to let us know right away. Okay? Fully vaccinated people this is an important one, will continue to take precautions in common areas of the community, like wearing a well-fitted mask and social distancing. So again, if you are out and about in the community, you're walking up to get your mail, you're going to an event or a program, you're wandering the hallways, you need to wear your mask and you still need to social distance. Dining, like we said, is where you can sit down, take the mask off. But if you get up to leave the restaurant, be it the Fireside Restaurant downstairs or the Village Bistro up here, you need to put that mask back on. Okay, that's an important one. I need everybody to please adhere to that rule still. In the common areas, you still need to wear a mask and social distance. which also means that the common areas, sitting areas that have been closed, are still closed at this time. We're not ready to reopen common areas for sitting and congregating yet. Fully vaccinated people, as we said, will continue to wear masks. You're going to continue to practice social distancing and adhere to those other preventative measures when you're visiting with unvaccinated people who are at an increased risk for severe COVID-19, or who have an unvaccinated household member who is at an increased risk for severe COVID-19 disease. So what does that one mean? That means if you're visiting with anybody here at the community, a fellow resident who was unvaccinated, and like we said, there are very few, but there are some, you need to continue to practice all of those preventative measures like the mask wearing, like the social distancing, washing your hands frequently, all of those sorts of things. If you are visiting with someone else who maybe is vaccinated, but they have somebody living in their house who is not vaccinated, who might be at severe risk. Let's use an example of, let's say you're going to visit with your children, husband and maybe your son or your daughter and their spouse, okay? And I'm going to make the presumption that your son or daughter and their spouse are over the age of 65 for a minute. So stick with me as far as the example. If one of them is vaccinated, but the other one is not vaccinated, you still need to follow the masking and the social distancing and the other guidelines. If they're both vaccinated, you're good to go. But if one is not vaccinated, or both are not vaccinated, and they're over the age of 65, then you need to continue to follow the social distancing, the mask wearing, and the other guidelines that have been in place for some time. And what's the reason for that? We don't want them to get sick. Whether they're a resident here or not, they're somebody we care about, and we don't want them to get sick or have the potential of getting sick, because just because you have been vaccinated does not necessarily mean that you can't transmit the disease to someone who is not vaccinated. I think this is my last slide on this. So again, fully vaccinated people, that's 97% of us here, right? You're going to continue to wear masks, maintain that social distance, practice those other prevention measures when you're visiting with unvaccinated people from multiple households, okay? So let's say all of your family is getting together, for Passover or Easter in a small group, 5 or 6, right? But that includes maybe you have, your son and daughter and their spouse and maybe a couple of grandchildren who no longer live with their parents. They're living out on their own these days, right? Okay? Those are people from multiple households at that point. If any of them are unvaccinated, it's in everybody's best interest to still wear that mask and still social distance. And the final one, fully vaccinated people, and again, that's us, continue to avoid medium and large-sized in-person gatherings. So what does that mean for us here at Monroe Village? That means we still need to adhere to the things we've been doing in terms of programs and events, meaning we still need to limit the size of the number of people, the size of the audience, the number of people that can attend. We still need to keep the social distancing when we have programs and events. That's important for everybody to understand, that right now we're not going to be able to open up the auditorium the way it used to be with the seats, 5 or 6 across and then 5 or 6 across on the other side and 10 or 15 rows deep, where we used to get 80 or more people here into the auditorium. We're not able to do that yet. Anything more than 5 or 6 people is considered a medium or large-sized in-person gathering. So keep that in mind. You still need to avoid those medium and large-sized in-person gatherings. And these are taken, all of this is taken pretty much directly from that CDC guidance that came out. All right? So we got one more set of rules. I promise that's the last one. So, fully vaccinated people continue to avoid crowds, poorly ventilated spaces, cover your mouth for coughs and sneezes, and wash your hands often. Those are those winning ways of Monroe Village that I put together a while ago, right? About washing our hands, covering coughs and sneezes, wearing a mask, all of that stuff. We still need to do those to keep the winning ways of Monroe Village rolling on. That is something we all still need to do at this point in time. And finally, and this is another important one, perhaps for you if you're considering travel, or just as importantly, perhaps for your loved ones if they're considering traveling here. Fully vaccinated people will continue to follow the travel guidelines as outlined by individual states and countries. So what does that mean for us right now in New Jersey? Right now, according to the state of New Jersey, they don't care if you've been vaccinated or not with respect to travel plans. It makes no difference if you've been vaccinated or not. But here are the current rules for traveling outside of the state of New Jersey and then coming to New Jersey. So be it whether you were to go visit a loved one outside of New Jersey, or a loved one and then return to Monroe Village, or a loved one was to come here from out of state and travel here to visit you. What it means is that that individual must quarantine for at least 7 days, and it's 7 days if they go ahead and have a COVID-19 test, and that test is negative. They are allowed out of quarantine after 7 days. They have to come to the state of New Jersey, or you have to return to the state of New Jersey. You have to wait 3 to 5 days, get your test, and then if you get those test results and they're negative, at day 7, you're out of quarantine. If you do not get tested and you're returning from out of state, or someone is traveling into the state of New Jersey and you don't get tested, as I said, it's a 10-day quarantine. Those are the rules that have been put out and published by the New Jersey Department of Health, and we will continue to adhere to those guidelines with respect to people who are either traveling here or if you are traveling out of state and then returning. When those guidelines change, we'll let you know, but we do need to adhere to those guidelines. They apply all throughout the state of New Jersey. So I know that's a lot of information that we've just shared about what our new guidelines are. In short, it's good stuff. We're able to get out and about. We're able to visit with people without a mask. You're able to maybe go visit with your children for Passover or Easter or just for dinner for the heck of it, okay? You can do those things in small groups, 5 or 6 people max, because 97% of us are fully vaccinated, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you have any questions about these new rules, please let me know. These slides will be available for everyone if they want them. Remember, we will be showing the town hall meeting on TV, and if you want a copy of the slides, they are always available for you. You just need to reach out to Gina, which is my great little segue here to comments and questions. If you want the slides from today's program, reach out to Gina DePiro, Administrative Assistant Extraordinaire, Exceptional Administrative Assistant Extraordinaire. How's that? I gave you another E on there. You can reach Gina at extension 6413.